Hello, welcome to PSSL 6240, Political Violence and Terrorism, and for most of you, welcome to the Safety and Security Leadership program here at George Washington. I'm Rowan Sharma, and I'll be your instructor for the Political Violence and Terrorism portion of this course. I just wanted to use this video to give you a quick welcome, quick introduction to myself, a quick introduction to the course, as well as give you kind of a live presence for me that you can associate with later. Just right off the bat, I want to get off what this class is and what this class isn't. A lot of you are coming from a military background. A lot of you might have taken counterterrorism courses while in the military or in the government. I can tell you that this course is not like the anti-terrorism force protection courses you might have taken in the military. It is not a course on SIGINT targeting. It is not a course on link analysis or how to rescue hostages from an aircraft. That is not counterterrorism for this course. This course is a mix of politics, policy, history, and even a little bit of philosophy thrown in there. So it covers terrorism from those intellectual perspectives that you might not see when you take a course on terrorism from the government or from the military. So again, welcome to the course. I just want to kind of give you a little bit of a preview of this course. What we're going to start off with is in the first couple of units, we're going to talk about history. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to start off with Unit 1, which will talk about terrorism as an existential threat. We'll then go into history of terrorism, followed by asking that critical question: what is terrorism? What is not terrorism? Why do we consider some things terrorism? Why do we consider other things not terrorism? We'll then continue on to history, and then we'll use some cover case studies of terrorist adaptations, why certain terrorist groups adapt while others not. So that kind of covers the first part of the course. For the second part of the course, we're going to actually talk from the counterterrorism perspective. So we'll shift gears and we'll talk about WMD terrorism, which I think is the biggest terrorism threat out there. And then we'll go into counterterrorism strategy. You know, what works, what doesn't, what does the U.S. do that's good, what does it do that doesn't work, what do other countries do? We'll then cover intelligence-related topics. You know, why do we still have intelligence failures? Can they be solved in relation to counterterrorism? And then we'll kind of wrap this course up with looking at contemporary issues. And what I mean by that is we'll look at predator drones, leadership targeting, which makes the news pretty consistently. We'll talk about NSA spying, American jihadism, whether we should end the global war on terror. So we're going to be talking about those things pretty consistently from here on in. Or for the last class anyway. And then we'll conclude the last week. I'm going to give you kind of open to answer any questions, but to also finish up your last papers, as well as study for and complete the final exam. You can see the course objectives in your syllabus. I'm not going to go into them in detail, but what I'm going to go over into is your work products. What I'm looking for are, or what your assignments will be 3 papers, 18 to 2,000 words. So they're not long research papers. They're tightly focused, get to the point papers that you would see when you enter the policy world. So again, short papers, and then there'll be a final exam. What I'm looking for in these papers is, again, a short, concise thesis, evidence to back up your thesis with rebuttal arguments addressed. And you'll get more details in it, or it's more of it's covered in the curriculum, but the papers are critical for again, getting that short, precise point across. And again, we'll cover those in detail as the course pursues. We also have this participation, and we use the discussion board format here. And I expect everyone, per the instructions of the course, to post every week in each discussion boards. There's usually 1 to 2 discussion boards for each week. I expect you to post a 400, 500 word essay that answers the questions being asked, and then I expect you to respond to 5 of your classmates, all within that week. So it is a pretty intensive process on the discussion boards, but it's important that you post, and you post as early as you can, and then you respond to your classmates throughout the week. And that's how we're going to get this interaction in the class going. The other thing I am going to do that's not on your syllabus is that I'm going to have 4 Adobe Connect sessions during the class. So every other week on Thursday nights, and we'll have the first one in week 2. So on every other week on Thursday nights between 8 and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to put out an Adobe Connect. You get to log in, and we'll have kind of a face-to-face interaction in the class. So we'll actually have, everyone will log in at the same time. There's separate chat rooms. There's video teleconference that multiple people can come up on, and we'll discuss. We'll prep for the papers. We'll talk about our discussion boards. We'll talk about the what's going on during that week during the Adobe Connect session. And again, I want to get this to be an online class, but I want you to get that face-to-face as much as possible. So if you can't make the Adobe Connect sessions, I know some people might be in Afghanistan, some people might have a very difficult time doing that. Please let me know now. Please shoot me an email now, and I can try and tape those sessions and send them to you via podcast. So we will have those Adobe Connect sessions. And that's kind of all I'm going to cover for the class. Just to give a little bit of background on myself, I currently work at a place called the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. It's called DTRA for short, where I work red team analysis for counter WMD issues. DTRA is the Department of Defense's arm that deals with nuclear proliferation, counter proliferation, counter chemical, biological weapons. So I work in that area quite significantly, and you'll see a lot of that when we get to that section in the syllabus. Previously, I've worked at Homeland Security. I've worked at the Transportation Security Administration. I've worked as a contract analyst at the Joint IED Defeat Organization here in DC. And before that, I was an Army officer for 7 years, where I was an intel officer, deployed to Afghanistan, deployed to Iraq. So if you've done that, I can definitely sympathize with you on that front. So that's a little bit of background on myself. What I'm looking forward to, or what I'm looking forward to, is seeing your participation, seeing what your thoughts bring in, and I teach it, and hopefully you will learn something from me. But when I look at previous students' discussion boards, when I look at some papers, I tend to learn as much from the students as I actually teach as well. So this is definitely a two-way street. If there's any issues or recommendations or anything that you see amiss, please don't hesitate to email. Email is the best point of contact for me, and I'm usually pretty responsive if you send something to my Gmail. And I look forward to seeing every one of you in class.